I want you to find a quiet space. Bring paper and a pen next to you, but a place where you can either be laying down with your eyes closed or seated in a comfortable meditative position. Pause this video and prepare your space, and when you're ready, press play. Keeping the eyes closed, I'm going to guide you through this meditation, a retelling of women's history, guiding you back and back, deeper through time, until we come back to today. This is a brief history, a brief telling. It is incomplete, but filled with very important and potent details, things that women have either long forgotten or have never been told. Keeping the eyes closed as you feel into this experience, connect with your breath, allow what you hear to resonate deep within your cells. Allow your breath to carry it throughout the wisdom centers within your body. And just allow yourself to feel what you feel in this retelling. Let us begin. Long ago, when calendars and the keeper of time only hold value over when to plant crops or when to migrate to safer climates, it was women who held dominion over men. Women held the highest seat of power amongst their villages, and it was known then as high priestess times. Back then, a woman's cycle was celebrated by all in the village. Preparations for a grand party were cultivated all throughout the day, and on the evening of her first moon, she would hover over a collection bowl, and the villagers would line up and present their sacred offerings to the young woman, and in return, to thank them for their reverence and kindness, she would dip her finger in the blood and anoint them on their third eye. To be anointed by the blood of a new woman was to be kissed and blessed by the creators themselves. It was during high priestess times that villagers believed that the first moon in a female's life marked the moment the universe endowed her with all its gifts and secrets. It was believed that women held all the secrets of the universe within them, and that to hold this knowledge is to become the sacred seed. To be a sacred seed is to be the sacred caretaker to the infinite womb of universal wisdom. It is to have the understanding and care to all life and creation on earth. When someone had a question to ask, they would be directed to ask a female, for she was the sacred seed and held all universal wisdom within her. It was in high priestess times that women were revered as the wisdom keepers, the nurturers, the communicators to bind tribes together in peace and harmony. And some were also fierce warriors. During high priestess times, it was men's honor to be the defenders and protectors of the women, children, and the elders. But men's hearts were more easily corrupt, and eventually they decided to stage a grand coup. Using their strength and brute force, they slaughtered all the priestesses, cutting the cord to the infinite womb of wisdom. These men enslaved the youngest daughters, giving them a choice to either submit to their rule or to die with their mothers. And though these girls would one day be endowed themselves with the sacred seed of knowledge on the eve of their first moon, they would be too frightened to draw upon its medicine and gifts. Too frightened after witnessing their sisters, mothers, aunts, grandmothers, teachers, and leaders meet their unjust and untimely end. There were also men who didn't partake in the coup, men who wept over the slain mothers, sisters, aunts, and grandmothers. And as it happened, word quickly spread village to village, and more men were inspired to rule in staged coups of their own, till no woman was left in a seat of power. And from that point on, for a long time and centuries of hardship, women were seen only as property and ornamentation. They were meant only for men's amusements and to satiate their appetites, to spread their seed so their name would live on. Through 2 centuries of foot binding, several centuries of female genital mutilation, several centuries of period shaming, 500 plus years of corsets displacing women's organs leading to early deaths, from over 4,000 years of wrongfully diagnosed women with female hysteria, condemning them to a life in asylum or worse, men's pursuit to control our bodies and minds continued. Women have undergone over 4,000 years of witchcraft persecution, with an estimate of 3 to 4 million executed throughout history only on the evidence of gossip and superstition. Between the 15th and 19th centuries, men suppressed women's right to publicly practice healing and midwifery, so men could create a study of gynecology, whereby men would once again enforce their dominion over our bodies and infringe upon our right to access and practice our innate gifts that utilize sacred seed wisdom. Ironically, gynecology was one of the last areas women were allowed to study. It took a 41% increase in childbirth fatalities before women were allowed to study at university in gynecology, and nurse and midwives became a thing in the United States. Women's right to vote in the U.S. was not secured until 1920, and in 1970, 50,000 women and male feminists marched arm in arm through the major streets of New York City in a strike for peace and equality. All of Manhattan was at a standstill from this event, and yet, when the people returned home that night, nothing had changed. Up until 1973, women did not have legal rights to protect them in their choice to have an abortion. This resulted in back alley abortions that often killed the mother during the procedure, or she would later die of infection soon afterwards. Throughout history, and even today, on top of women still not having equal pay, all of our products to care for ourselves cost more than the products for men. Our clothes are more expensive. Our shaving cream and razors are more expensive. Our haircuts, our shoes, car repairs, our vitamins, our shampoos and conditioners. The world of men have gone to extraordinary lengths to keep us down and powerless. Men have been taught that they can do anything, achieve anything, to go out, climb, and conquer the world. The world is theirs, they need only take it. Women were taught self-criticism and self-improvement. If you were blessed with parents that not only told you you could do anything, but that they showed you could by their actions and their own beliefs, modeling why it's your right, society, culture, and a life's worth of subliminal messaging still taught you these terribly suppressive lies of self-criticism and self-improvement. We were taught to compete with women instead of rally together, because together we're stronger. And the idea of women assembling together to this day terrifies men. Even after all these centuries, they can sense how powerful we are. There are men today who are ancestors of the murderers who slaughtered countless civilizations' priestesses. There are men today who descend from those who resented the murderous leaders and secretly fought to protect the women in their lives generation after generation. men who could not be corrupt, who knew their place in this world, who didn't need more, and who respected the balance of all things. Men who respected that women are more precious and valuable and deserve more respect than today's societies allow. There are women who descend from the slaughtered priestesses, and women who descend from the enslaved, who lived the rest of their lives in fear of being what they could not escape, being a woman. There are also new souls among us, souls that cannot comprehend or fathom what ancestral trauma, ancestral grief is because they have no context for it, no point of reference. They have no lineage yet. How may we help them begin to understand what ancestral trauma is like? Is it possible that you yourself are a new soul? Do you feel very far removed from this history, that there are no sensations stirring within your body upon hearing of this retelling? I share this to emphasize and give compassion and insight into where others may be coming from and what can be motivating them beyond their own awareness. To give you the opportunity to glimpse into a person who's entered your life, to see where their blood may pull them further away or toward you. And priestess and divine feminine genocide is only one egregious violation among the history of humans. There's cultural genocide, religious genocide, and on, not to mention countless other ways women's rights have been snuffed out over time. But this is a woman's place. This is a place to honor and hold dear and to elevate and uplift the women in our lives. It is a place to lift up and elevate ourselves and each other, to reawaken that sacred seed wisdom and confidence within ourselves, and to stand united together so we may further heal, mend, and connect the broken connections within ourselves and in others' bodies, minds, and spirits. Bless the goddess. Goddess protect. Keeping the eyes closed, breathe into this experience. Feel what parts of your body may or may not be buzzing. Breathe deeply. You may now slowly open the eyes and find something to write with and a piece of paper. I'm going to ask you a series of questions that I'd like you to consider pondering and even journaling about. Consider writing about, how did this retelling make you feel? How did this experience make you feel? Where in your body are you feeling this experience? Where in your body are you feeling this experience? What about our history resonates for you or didn't resonate for you? And why you might have resonated or not resonated in the ways you did or didn't. It's a heavy topic to revisit the suppression, oppression, cruelty, and suffering of our gender. But it's important to know the strength and power that we possess and where we come from, that there was once a time when we flourished and where it was a blessing to be female. It's important to know these things so that we may re-establish and reconnect with that blessing within ourselves. Because once we have that within ourselves, no one can take that away from us. Many blessings to you on this day. Be very kind and gentle with yourself today as your mind may continue to unfold from this retelling. I encourage you to journal about your feelings and your experience, and to even share them on our platform with the community. Let's begin a dialogue and discussion around the experience you had. Many blessings, sisters, and I look forward to speaking with you soon.